carrier grade NAT, CG NAT. So this is mostly we see this in service provider side. Only the service provider side needs this particular type of NATing, carrier grade NAT, CG NAT. It has got various names like large scale NAT. That's one name given. Uh, and it's type of network address translation. Simple. We know what is NATing. You remember static NAT, dynamic NAT overloading. If you have come across these NATs, you know CG NAT. The difference is usually we used to do NATing on the enterprise's edge. That's normal. That's acceptable NAT. This is something which we do it on the provider side. Why? To have more IPv4 address. So what happens is this type of NAT allows multiple customers to share single public IP address, which means, as we know, all the customers are going to get private address, and all the customers' private is getting translated to single public address, which is not the case in the early days. Early days, even me, I have my own public IP address. I purchased my own public IP address like 11 years back. But now you won't get it. We won't get a public IP address because we don't have ISPs don't have public. Maybe some big ISPs. No, I don't think we will get public IPs. We need to check. Maybe one or two ISPs may have some with very big cost. So here, a simple customer, a normal domestic customer, who is getting internet connection in his house, it is very difficult to see a public IP address given now. All are given private address. And for all those private address, single address is used for mapping. How can a single address be used to map multiple customers? You remember when we learned NATing, we learned something called port address translation, where we will use the port number, 65,000 port numbers we have. So only the reserved port numbers are 1,000 feet, 1024, 1023. So you got around 64,000 private addresses. Sorry, correct, private port numbers. So we get translated. We have multiple customers. We get them translated with single IP address but different port number. So it allows multiple customers to share single public IP address by mapping multiple private IP address to one address. Or you may have few public IP addresses in case if I have 2 million customers, you don't have 2 million port numbers. So I need some pool of public IP address. That's what we do in dynamic NAT overloading, which is also called as patting. So NATing configuration is same, but the difference is this NAT we do not only on the edge of the customer, in the service provider side. See, customer is coming with private address, and the customers are mapped to single public IP address on the service provider side. This was not done before. This is not enterprise's edge router configuration. Enterprise's edge already have got that NATing. This is another NAT happening on the provider side. So, as I explained, this is how CG NAT, carrier grade NAT, works. Inside the ISP's network, all the subscribers are assigned a private IP address. We were saying customers, subscribers or customers. So we give the customer. The customer may be a Wi-Fi customer or a wired customer or a browsing center or as you said earlier, ships will have a temporary customer. Aeroplane passengers will have they're temporary customers to us. So we don't want to give them a permanent IP address. They are temporary. So we give them private IP address. Now for CG NAT, this public range is reserved as private now. This, see, it's not mandated that you should only use this one. You may use 10 series or 172 series or 192 series. But using that is a problem. Why? See, the customer is already having one private. Customer, let's say this is my house. I already have my computers with some subnet, let's say 192.168.0.1. If provider also gives me the same IP address, what will happen? That becomes a problem, right? This is ISP. So that will conflict. You cannot force customer to change their IP address. Customer's DHCP, my Huawei router is pre-configured to throw an IP address in 192.168 range. And if ISP also provides the same address or same subnet address, then there is not going, the routing will not happen. Conflict. That is why there is a reservation done. This looks like a, yes. Only CG NAT purpose. Recommended. Recommended. Not everyone is using this. It is recommended to avoid conflict. See, because 192, everyone already knows private. 172.16, everyone knows. 10 network, everyone knows. They're already using it. Private address, the 3 range of address is already being used by customer. If service provider will also use from that range, as I showed you, there will be a conflict sometime with some customers. May not be all from all customers, but from some customers there will be conflict. Yes or no? Because they also use the same private range. So after CGNAT is introduced, when the IPv4 address got exhausted, they faced that problem. That is why they came up with this idea, like 116. And you see, we got only 16-bit. With 16-bit, you can go only up to 65535. You got only that many port numbers. So there is no need for more than 16-bit, but here they have given more bits. If you want, you can use more. Only 10 bits are used, is 64, which means only 2 bits are taken from the second octet. 100 dot. This is what? Only these two are on, constant. So right from here to the other 3 octet is available. If you want to use, you can use all these bits, but you won't need that many. You need only 64,000, you can say exactly. 64,000 port numbers only are available for us. Fine. So what we learn from this, there is a reservation only for CGNAT. Only for CGNAT, specifically for CGNAT. If someone is telling there's a private range of address starting with 100, no one will believe because they don't know what is CGNAT. Most of us will think that this is still a public range of address. Now, after CG NAT, this has been reserved for CG NAT. This has become private. Yeah, this may be a new information for you, right? It is okay. It is okay. You see, there won't be conflict. Say, let's say this is Airtel. Airtel is giving to the customer, Airtel customer, 164.00/10 range, and this is Etisalat. They also have customers. For them also, Etisalat is doing CG NAT, so they have given. Now, this is not going to be used when they talk between these two. What we have? We have public IP address. So this original customer's address is not revealed anyhow. So no problem. Here I'll have pool of address, let's say 20.001, 20.002. Here I may have pool of address 80.001, 80.002. So no problem, even though the customers have got this same subnet. It's again private, same like the entire world is using 10 range of address, 192 range. Is there any conflict? No, we have NAT. So below this, customer network is coming. Customer here he may have 10.000/800. Here also customer may have 10.00. Never conflict. Customer edge is going to translate from this to this, and provider edge is going to translate from this to this, and again from 80 it is going to be translated to this, and this to this. Right. So translation is what here repeatedly happens. When traffic from the private IP address needs to access internet, CG NAT translate them to share the public IP address, which is in our case 20.001, with unique port number. This is to distinguish different users. So here users are going to be, customers are not going to be differentiated only with IP address, because there will be many customers with the same IP address. What makes difference is the port number. That was not the case earlier. In CG NAT, how do I know this customer called Raj and customer called Rahul different? Their IP address are same. Maybe they both have got IP address 100.64.0.1, but the port number for them is maybe 5555. For the other guy, it is 6666. Same address. So multiple customer gets the same IP address for this purpose. Okay, so to the customer, we are giving this. We are not translating the customer traffic to this. Understand? To the customer, we give this. This is Raj. This is Rahul. And now Rahul has got his own private with 10.000 series. Rahul also has got, Raj also may have same 10.001. Never mind, when the traffic comes from here, it will come with this port number, this IP to ISP. When Rahul speaks from here, it comes from same IP address but different port number. So when this won't conflict, even this also won't conflict. Here also port number may be involved. It depends on Raj. Which if Raj has got overloading, then it is going to be same port number. Mostly everyone will have overloading, dynamic mode overloading on the edge. You understand, right? This story. So this is not the address ISP finally uses to map. This is the address given to the customer. Customer's WAN side gets this address. Customer's LAN side still the same old customer's DHCP provided, private. Customer WAN side is provided with this private address. This is specially reserved private address for CG NAT. And now from here, when the traffic comes, there will be public address again with port number. Or you no need to do overloading here because you got port number. You can provide Raj one address and Ram another address. Overloading is not really needed here. We can say Raj, you take 6401, Ram, you take 6402. And now if traffic comes from Raj, he is translated 20001. If traffic comes from Raj, again 20001, but the port number for this is 5555. Port number for this is 666. So that is what this means. The public address is what shared address. The private address need not to be a shared address. Shared address. No need, because no need of sharing. You need only 64,000 IP address. You have more than 64,000 in this range. So when traffic from the private address need to be accessed, need to access the internet, which means this is the private address. When traffic comes from here, it's translated to the shared public address. In our example, I say 20001. And when they translate, it provides unique port number for distinguish different user. See, the port numbers are dynamically assigned. The port number given to you today may not be given to you after 1 hour to you. It may be given to someone, or it may be given to someone tomorrow. But if you want to statically say for this customer, this is the port number you should use, it is allowed. I'll show you those configuration side later. But what I'm trying to say is here, the customer, Raj, is in 10001 originally. And he gets translated to 100.64.0.1. And now in the ISP side, he comes and the ISP translates to 20001 port number 5555. This 5555 is now given to Raj. But after Raj finishes the conversation, when Ram comes, with another IP address 100.64.0.2. There are chances the same port number given. Why, when this router sent the packet, it used the same port number what Ram was having here. Ram, while sending the packet fresh from the PC, he was using port number 555. Raj also was using 555. See, this is two different PC, two different customer in two different location, but port numbers are randomly generated. Source port numbers are random. There are chances that this Windows computer, this Windows operating system, generating the same port number. There are probabilities. So the same port number will be maintained while translating from this to this and also from this to this. Similarly here, translating from 10001 to this one, same port number is maintained, 555. Now the conflict comes. If this connection is already exists, then the CG NAT router will put some other number, 5556. But if the session is already closed, it will maintain the same port number, 5555. So now Raj is not given a dedicated port number or a dedicated IP address. Time to time, the port number changes. If port number changes for Raj time to time, if someone is contacting Raj from outside, they will have problem. If you want to talk to Raj, you will be talking to 20001. Yeah, that's the public address that the public knows. But to what port number they will talk, don't know. So traffic was easily going from inside to outside, but when traffic tries to come from outside, that becomes a challenge. In such situation, we do static mapping. Whenever traffic comes from 100.64.0.1, I want only this port number to be translated along with this IP address. So that if someone from outside talks to 220.0.0.1, port number 5555, they will get translated to Raj's address. If they come to 6, then they will be translated to Ram's address. For that, we need to do what? Static port mapping, which we see in the CG NAT in CG NAT in the real world. We see this port numbers are statically mapped. I have mentioned that in this presentation. It's coming later. Did you understand what I said so far? Okay. See, this is for the return traffic. The return traffic is mapped back to the correct private IP address and the port number. So these things you need to understand that unidirectional and bidirectional. That's why I said after a few minutes we'll see this again. Now you see, traffic is already out. Traffic is already out. But the return traffic is what had to come. For return traffic, dynamic map happens. Return traffic is not the traffic initiated from outside. Return traffic is the response for the initiated traffic. Let me try to explain one more time, including this point. Now let's say this is a customer and I got another customer and I got another customer. 3 customers, black, red and blue. Now all these 3 are connected to one provider. And this one provider is connected to many other providers. That is what we call it as internet. No. Many providers. Internet itself is web. So you got multiple paths to reach Yahoo, Google, Facebook. Fine. Now, this is one ship. This is one browsing center. This is one enterprises. And ISP has given them 100.64 range address because they don't have public address and they want to do CG NAT. So the address given is 100.64 64.01, 100.64.02, 100.64.03. And inside, this customer has got 10.0.0.1. This customer may also have 10.0.0.1 to 3 address starting from 10.0.0.1 to, let's say, 10.0.0.100. Here also address starting from 10.0.0.1 to 10.0.0, let's say 254. And this customer may have 192, 168, 0.1 to 192, 168, 0.254. So these customers, three customers, they all have their own private address range, private address assigned to their computers. Inside the ship, the black one, 100 customer provided, 100 customer has got IP address from the ship's DHCP. Here, again, in the office, it's a small Soho office. This is ship, a vessel, and this one is enterprises. So here you got 254 employees. Hold on, this portion will not get recorded, so let me push this a little closer. Okay. Now, this is 10.0.0.1. This is 192.168.0.1, and this is again 10.0.0.1. Coming from different customer, traffic is coming. There is a pool of address in the real world because the customer will be millions. So I'm taking the pool. If the customers are less than 64,000, you no need pool of address, just one address is enough. So now I got, let's say, 20.0.0.1 and 20.0.0.2. Two public address I got. What is getting enabled here is, what they enable is PAT, port address translation. What customer enables here is also PAT. What type of NAT? It is network address translation overloading. NAT overload. Called as dynamic NAT overload. PAT. Yes. Mm. Correct. Yeah. See, usually it prefers the port number which is already there in layer 4. If that port number is not available, it will use the port number which is available. Let me show you. Let us start from left to right. This from the ship, a customer is trying to go to Yahoo. Let's see how and what happens. The source IP address is going to be 10.0.0.1. That is the customer's IP address in the ship. And destination IP address, let's say Yahoo's IP address is 80001. Yeah. So how you got this? From DNS server, correct? Okay. Likewise, there will be source port number, you see. Source port number will be a random port number. Let us call it as 5555. And destination port number will be 443. Why? He's going to the web page, a secure web page of Yahoo. Correct? Right. Now, when this packet goes to customer's edge router, that is in the ship, there is a router. That router receives the packet from the customer's laptop. Now, what this guy will do, he also has got a pool of address or only one address, it depends. If ISP provides two address, pool of address. If ISP says, hey, you got only this address, 100.64.0.1. This is the address you should get translated to. So the ship router, what it does, it changes the source address to 100.64.0.1. This is what called as NATing, right? Network address translation. We change the NAT layer, IP layer, network layer. What is network layer? What do we have in network layer? IP address. We change the IP address. The source IP address is getting mapped with a mapped address. The real address is mapped with a mapped address. And the translation tries to use the same port number. This is the port number which the customer is sending. And this router has got this port number available. So it maintains this port number. If this port number is already given to another person in the ship, let's say another person, so this is another computer. There are chances that another computer also may generate same port number. You see, inside the ship, inside the vessel, there is another customer who is trying to go to this website of this address. But his operating system also has given the same port number. It is randomly generated. There are chances. There are chances. We cannot say this will not happen. This may happen sometime. Now, if you have only one, wait, let me finish. If you have the same address to give, you have only one address to give. You have only one address to give to the second passenger in that ship. See, both computers are in the same customer ship. Now, this will conflict. Why? According to the internet, traffic is coming with this address and with this address, with this port number, with this port number. So if Yahoo replies, the reply will come. But whom do I send? The reply will come to this address and this port number. But this address and this port number is mapped to two different people. Whom to give? Let me put it in another way. This is Yahoo. This is Facebook. When Yahoo receives packet, it is receiving from this address and this port number. So Yahoo will respond to this address and this port number. But this address and this port number is also given to 10.00.25. So if Yahoo reply comes, this ship router will be in confusion whether to send to this passenger A or passenger B. Confusion. To avoid this, what it does is, to avoid this confusion, it will not give the same port number. The ship router will try to provide another port number which is not given to anyone. Now when Yahoo responds, it will respond to this port number. It knows this port number I need to send to 10.0.0.1. If the response comes to this port number, then it knows I need to send to 10.0.0.25. Right? It knows whom to respond when the port numbers are different. If the port numbers are same, not possible to differentiate. Okay, now this is normal NATing. So far what we have seen is not CG NAT. This is normal NATing. Now what happens? The traffic with this port number and this IP address, another traffic from this port number and same IP address comes to the router here. So what router does? It has got connection to another ISP. This is your ISP. To that ISP, this is an upstream ISP. Between these two, there is a real public IP address, 20.0.0.1, 20.0.0.2. So now, this traffic is translated. This IP address is translated to 20.0.0.1. This also translated again problem. When reply comes to 20.0.0.1, we will not know this reply is for passenger A or B. So the same port number is used. See, 65. This port number is copied here, and this port number is copied here. 5555, 5556. Sorry. This is the request going to Yahoo with this port number. This is the request going to Facebook with this port number. When Facebook responds, it will respond to 5556. So it will be sent to 10.0.0.25. The reverse traffic. I repeat. You see, traffic going from this side to this side. Is it a reverse traffic? Is that the return traffic? No, that's not return traffic. When Yahoo responds or Facebook responds, that is the return traffic. When Facebook responds, it will respond to this port number and this IP address. If it is this port number, traffic should be translated to this IP address. This is what called as return traffic. While going, mapping happened. When the traffic comes, the reverse NAT happens. The reverse NAT. You understand reverse NAT? Traffic gets translated from this port number to this IP address and same port number. And again from this IP address and this port number to this IP address and this port number. That's how the traffic comes here. So that is return traffic. And now coming back to traffic originating from outside and traffic originating from inside. See, this is inside the vessel. Customers are sitting inside. From inside, they initiate the traffic. This happens. What you just saw happens. But let's say there is a server in the ship. There is a server in the ship, and the server need to be accessed by outside customer. He is not. The customer is not inside the ship. The traffic is not initiated from inside. The traffic is going to be initiated from outside. Try to understand this scenario. Earlier, traffic was initiated by the passenger. So nothing happened easily. But now someone from outside. See, for this PC, we have an IP address, let's say, for the server 10.0.0.50. Someone from somewhere in the internet wants to access the server. To which IP address he will access? No idea. Why? Why no idea? Because there is no fixed IP address or port number to this. This address is fixed at 10.0.0.50, but this is a private address. No one in public will be able to use the private address to reach this. The only public address in this ship is 20.0.0.1. If this customer goes to 20.0.0.1, can he go to the server? No. Why? This 20.0.0.1 is for the entire ship. You understand? Are you there? 20.0.0.1 is not for one computer. It is for all passengers and also for server. So if any traffic coming to 20.0.0.1, it is only coming up to this port. This router will not know whom to forward. So what do? we can dedicate a port number. We can tell the router that any traffic comes from this 10.0.0.50, translate it to 100.64.0.1 and port number 7777. We hard code it. Only give this port number and this IP address. And on the service provider side also we say, if traffic is coming from 100.64.0.1.777, you give only 20.0.0.1.777. Statically we map, so that if this guy goes to the browser and says 20.0.1/777 port number, when he puts this port number, I don't know whether slash they put or colon they will put, colon IP colon, this is called port forwarding. Okay, now when the packet goes with this address, goes to this address, when the response goes, sorry, when the request goes to this address with this port number, it knows that this port number is given for this IP and this port number, and the customer ship router knows that this port number and this IP is given for 100.0.0.50, and the packet reaches here. If you don't have the static port number, if the port number keeps changing, the outsiders will not know. The packet initiating from outsiders will not know what port number to use. நான் சொல்றது புரிஞ்சுதா? Let me put it in Tamil. இப்போ இந்த பிசில இருந்து வர டிராஃபிக்கு மட்டும் சர்வர்ல இருந்து வர இந்த சர்வருக்காக மட்டுமே இந்த சர்வருக்கு உண்டான இன்கமிங் அவுட் கோயிங் டிராஃபிக் மட்டுமே ஒரு டெடிகேட்டட் போர்ட் நம்பரை போட்டு விடுறோம். அது ஏன் அப்படி போடுறோம்னா வெளியே இருக்கிறவனுக்கு எந்த போர்ட் நம்பர் யூஸ் பண்ணா அந்த சர்வருக்கு போக முடியும்னு நம்ம சொல்ல முடியும். ரேண்டமா போர்ட் நம்பர் மாறிக்கிட்டே இருக்குதுன்னு சொன்னா, நீங்களே சொன்னீங்க இல்லையா போர்ட் நம்பர் மாறிக்கிட்டே இருக்கும்னு. அப்படி மாறிக்கிட்டே இருந்துச்சுன்னா இந்த கம்ப்யூட்டரை ரீச் பண்றதுக்குன்னு ஒரு போர்ட் நம்பர் கிடையாது. ஐபி அட்ரஸும் எல்லாருக்கும் ஒரே ஐபி அட்ரஸ், போர்ட் நம்பர் கிடையாதுன்னா அப்போ வெளியே இருக்கிற ஆள் இந்த கம்ப்யூட்டரை பிங் பண்ண முடியாது. உள்ள இருந்து போனா ரிப்ளை வரும், ஆனா வெளியே இருந்து யாருமே இனிஷியேட் பண்றதுக்கு வழி இல்லாம போயிடும். அதனால ஸ்டாட்டிக்கா நம்ம சொல்றோம், இந்த ஐபிஆர்எஸ்ல இருந்து வந்துச்சா இந்த போர்ட் நம்பருக்கு நீ மேப் பண்ணு, இந்த ஐபிஆர்எஸ் சேம் ஐபிஆர்எஸ் பட் இந்த போர்ட் நம்பர். அதே போல இங்க சிஜி நெட் பண்ற இடத்துல அதையே சொல்லுவோம், சேம் பப்ளிக் ஐபிஆர்எஸ் ஆனா இந்த போர்ட் நம்பரை மட்டுமே இந்த பர்டிகுலர் டிராஃபிக்கு நீ யூஸ் பண்ணணும், இந்த போர்ட் நம்பர் உள்ளதுக்கு இந்த போர்ட் நம்பர் தான் கொடுக்கணும், வேற எதையும் கொடுத்துடாதுன்னு. அதனால என்ன நடக்குதுன்னா இந்த சிஜி நெட் ரவுட்டருக்கு தெரியும் இந்த போர்ட் நம்பர் இந்த ஐபிஆர்எஸ்க்கு ஒரு பாக்கெட் வந்துச்சுன்னா நம்ம அதே போர்ட் நம்பர் இந்த ஐபிஆர்எஸ்க்கு கொடுக்கணும். அப்போதான் இந்த ரவுட்டருக்கு தெரியும் இந்த போர்ட் நம்பர் வந்து வர டிராஃபிக் எல்லாம் இந்த ஐபிஆர்எஸ்க்கு ஃபார்வர்ட் பண்ணணும், வேற எந்த ஐபிஆர்எஸ்க்கும் பண்ணக்கூடாது, இந்த ஐபிஆர்எஸ்க்கு. இது பேரு வந்து பைடைரக்ஷனல் வெளியே இருந்து இனிஷியேட் பண்ணாலும் உள்ள வரும், உள்ள இருந்து இனிஷியேட் பண்ணாலும் வெளியே போகும். வெளியே இருந்து இனிஷியேட் பண்றதுக்கு நமக்கு போர்ட் நம்பர் ஃபிக்ஸடா இருக்கிறதுனால வெளியே இருந்தும் உள்ள வரும். பைடைரக்ஷனலுக்கு அர்த்தம் இதுதான். Traffic can be initiated from the ship to Yahoo, also from Yahoo to the ship. If you have dynamic NAT overloading, only from inside to outside you can go and get the return traffic, but you cannot initiate from outside. Now, you see when traffic from this private, okay, here, this is the point I was trying to explain. The return traffic is mapped back to correct private IP address. This is for the return traffic, correct private IP address and port number. Did you understand these points? Is there any question on these points? Okay. Now, why CG NAT is used? You know this reason. One, we don't have public IP address. Shortage of public IPv4 address. So with the help of CG NAT, we allow thousands of users to share single public IP address. Thousands of users to share single public IP address, which is not before. Thousands of users, here it's not a user within the company, thousands of enterprises, thousands of vessels can use single IP address. Secondly, cost saving. The ISP, your ISP need not to buy many public IP address. This is end customer. End customer subscribes. We only give private IP address, so it's free of cost. Only few address the ISP buys from the upstream ISP. So it is cheaper for ISP also. Third, now many companies are migrating to 6. So we can use the CG NAT as a temporary solution till you do complete transition to IPv6. You know, slowly people are migrating, but meanwhile I need to manage, I need to give connection to new customers. I cannot say customer I don't have IP address. then I lose my revenue. Till I completely migrate to IPv6, I need to manage with IPv4. So we need CG NAT. Next, limitations of CG NAT. What are the limitations of CG NAT? As I told you, port number is a limitation. If you have millions of customers, you need to have enough of address in the pool. One address can support up to 64,000. If I have 2 million, then I need to have at least 4 or 5 public address in the pool. If not, problem. So port numbers are limited, which can affect the application required. Okay, some applications need some dedicated port number. That is one problem. See, some port numbers, even though they are not reserved, but some software says I will work only when this port number matches. But CGNet might have given that port number to some customer. As a result, some application for the users may not work. Why? Because the port number is not available. Some games, some point-to-point sharings, they need some port numbers for working. Any other port number, it won't work. Applications are embedded with some port numbers. Did you understand this problem? நான் சொல்றேன் பாருங்க. போர்ட் நம்பர் இருக்கிறதே 64,000 தான். ஏன்னா 1024 போர்ட் நம்பர் ரிசர்வ்டு இல்லையா? 65535ல 1000 போர்ட் நம்பருக்கு மேல ரிசர்வ். ஸோ 64,000 போர்ட் நம்பர் தான் நமக்கு இருக்குதுன்னு வச்சுக்கலாம். அன்ரிசர்வ் போர்ட் நம்பர். இந்த அன்ரிசர்வ் போர்ட் நம்பர்லேயே சில டெவலப்பர்ஸ் என்ன பண்றாங்க, கேம் டெவலப்பர்ஸ் எல்லாம் இல்லை அந்த ஏதோ ஒரு நீங்க ஸ்கிரீன் ஷேரிங் அந்த மாதிரிலாம் யூஸ் பண்ற அப்ளிகேஷனோட டெவலப்பர்ஸ்லாம் என்ன பண்றாங்க, ரிசர்வ் போர்ட் நம்பர்லாம் வாங்குறது இல்லை. இந்த அன்ரிசர்வ் போர்ட் நம்பர்ல எதையோ ஒன்று அந்த அப்ளிகேஷன்ல போட்டு விட்டுருது. அது ஃப்ரீ ஆஃப் காஸ்ட். ஸோ அந்த அப்ளிகேஷன்ஸை இன்ஸ்டால் பண்ணி என்ன பண்றான், பையன் விளையாடிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறான், நல்லா விளையாட்டுலாம் விளையாடிட்டு இருக்கான், ஆன்லைன்ல விளையாடிட்டு இருக்கான். திடீர்னு சிஜி நேட் போட்டோன்னே அந்த கேம் விளையாட முடியாது. காரணம் என்னன்னா, அந்த அப்ளிகேஷன்ல இருக்கிற போர்ட் நம்பர் சிஜி நேட் என்ன பண்ணுது, வேற ஏதோ கஸ்டமர் கொடுத்துச்சு. இவன் கேம் ஆரம்பிக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னால வேற எவனுக்கோ கொடுத்துருச்சு. அவன் கண்டினியூஸா யூஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிறதுனால அந்த போர்ட் அவைலபிளே இல்லை. அப்போ இந்த கேம் ஒர்க் பண்ணாது இல்லையா? ஸோ அதுதான் இங்க சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. which can affect applications required many simultaneous connections. ஒரே நேரத்தில் அதே போர்ட் நம்பர் கிடைக்கிறது வாய்ப்பே இல்லை. இதே 2 வேற வேற ஐபி அட்ரஸ் இருந்ததுன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், ஒரே போர்ட் நம்பர் இருந்தாலும் பரவாயில்லை, அவனுக்கும் அதே போர்ட் நம்பர் எனக்கும் அதே போர்ட் நம்பர், ப்ராப்ளம் இல்லை. ஏன்னா ஐபி அட்ரஸ் வேற வேறங்கிறது டிஃபரன்ஷியேட் பண்ண முடியும். இந்த இடத்துல யாருடைய டிராஃபிக்னு டிஃபரன்ஷியேட் பண்றதுக்கு போர்ட் நம்பர் தான் மெயின் மேட்ரு. ஏன்னா ஐபி அட்ரஸ் ஒன்று போல இருக்கும் இல்லையா? ஐபி அட்ரஸ் ஒரே மாதிரி தான் எல்லாருக்கும் கொடுக்க போறோம் கஸ்டமருக்கு. 164.0 ஐபி அட்ரஸ் ஒரே போல 20.0.0.1 20.0.0.1 எல்லாருக்கும் கொடுக்க போறோம். டிஃபரன்ஷியேட் பண்றதே போர்ட் நம்பர் தான். அப்போ ஒருத்தரும் கொடுத்த போர்ட் நம்பர் இன்னொருத்தரும் கொடுக்கவே முடியாது, எந்த அப்ளிகேஷனும் யூஸ் பண்ண முடியாது. அப்போ எந்தெந்த அப்ளிகேஷன்லாம் அந்த போர்ட் நம்பரை இன்பில்டா வச்சிருக்கோ அதெல்லாம் சஃபர் ஆகும். அந்த பாயிண்ட் புரிஞ்சுதா? நெக்ஸ்ட், troubleshooting complexity. Because we are doing natting after natting, it is very difficult to trace the individual user for security. இவனா ஒருத்தன் ஒரு மிரட்டல் இமெயில் போட்டானா அவ்வளோ ஈஸி கிடையாது அவனை கண்டுபிடிக்கிறது. நம்ம பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா, எவ்வளோ சுற்றி சுற்றி வரணும். ஆமா ஆமா. ம் ம் அதுதான் சிஜி நேட் பேக்கப். அது சிஜி நேட் லாக்ஸ் என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, யாருக்கு எந்த நிமிஷத்துல எந்த பிரைவேட் ஐபி அட்ரஸ் நம்ம கொடுத்தோம், என்ன போர்ட் நம்பர் அவன் யூஸ் பண்ணா, இதெல்லாம் ட்ராக் பண்ணிட்டு அந்த லாக்ஸை வந்து சேவ் பண்ணிக்கிட்டே இருக்கும். நான் சொன்னேன் இல்லையா, சில கவர்மெண்ட் வந்து 6 மாசம் ரெக்கார்டை மெயின்டைன் பண்ணும், சில கவர்மெண்ட் 2 இயர்ஸ் ரெக்கார்டை மெயின்டைன் பண்ணும். ஸோ 1 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னால இருக்கிறத கூட சில கண்ட்ரி ரிட்ரீவ் பண்ணி கொடுக்கும். நான் நேற்று சொன்னேன் இல்லையா, அந்த நேற்று தேதி சொன்னேன் நான், இந்த தேதிக்கு இந்த ஐபி அட்ரஸ் இந்த போர்ட் நம்பர் யாருக்கு கொடுத்த அப்படின்னா ஐஎஸ்பி எடுத்து கொடுத்துருவோம் இந்த ஆளுக்கு தான். நாம நினைச்சுப்போம் 1 மாசம் ஆயிடுச்சு, அப்போ பண்ணும், நம்ம இப்ப எல்லாம் மறைஞ்சு போயிட்டு இருக்கோம் அப்படின்னு. ஆனா அவன் கரெக்டா எடுத்து கொடுத்துருவான். அப்புறம் இன்வெஸ்டிகேஷன் டீம் வந்து நம்மள ஸ்க்ரூ பண்றதுல நம்மளும் உணரிடுவோம், மாட்டிப்போம் எவிடன்ஸ் வரும். ஸோ அந்த அளவுக்கு ட்ரேஸ் பண்ண முடியும். பட் அதுக்கு ஸ்பெஷல் ஹார்ட்வேர் தேவைப்படுது. சி, மில்லியன்ஸ் ஆஃப் கஸ்டமர்னுடைய ட்ராக்கை நீங்க வந்து ஐபி அட்ரஸ் மேப்பிங் ட்ராக்கை வந்து ஸ்டோர் பண்ணணும்னா டைம், டேட்டு, நம்ம அமௌண்ட் ஆஃப் டிராஃபிக் ஃப்ரம் வேர் டு வேர், எல்லாத்தையும் பண்ணணும். இட்ஸ் நாட் ஈஸி. யூ நீட் லாட் ஆஃப் சிபியூ, lot of storage to retrieve those information. So troubleshooting is very complex if you don't spend the money on those additional storage devices. See, iOS XR, meaning sir ASR devices, comes along with that module. CG NAT module ஒரு மாடியூல் வருது. அதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா இதுக்குன்னே இதை ப்ராசஸ் பண்றதுக்குன்னே தனி சிபியூ இருக்கு. இந்த லாக்ஸை ப்ராசஸ் பண்றதுக்கு ரவுட்டருக்கு ஒரு சிபியூ இருக்கும், அது இல்லாம இதுக்குன்னு ஒரு தனி சிபியூ, இதுக்குன்னு ஒரு தனி ஃபிளாஷ் மெமரி இருக்கும். ஏஎஸ்ஆர்ல இருக்கு, ஏஎஸ்ஆர்ல இருக்கு, இந்த ஃபீச்சர்லாம் இருக்கு. ஓகே, இல்ல எல்லா ஏஎஸ்ஆர்லயும் இருக்காது, மாடியூல் வாங்கணும் நீங்க. இந்த கமெண்ட்ஸ்ல நான் காமிப்பேன், கமெண்ட்ஸ்ல என்னால காமிக்க முடியும், பட் தனி மாடியூல் வாங்கணும். அது சரி, நான் அது இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் நான் கலெக்ட் பண்ணி உங்களுக்கு கொடுக்குறேன், அது எப்படி இருக்கும் அந்த மாடியூல் இல்லையா. You're forming VPN from your edge device to somewhere remote site edge device, correct? Remote site edge device. But if this address changes in the middle, then it is not possible, no, to have VPN. Your address is changed here in ISP. Then it is not possible. Not possible. You cannot say difficult, it is not possible. So services like voice over IP also same problem. Services like voice over IP, they use port number, they will have a connectivity issue because they work on UDP, and VPN will have some gaming platform. No? So this all needs some additional configuration to support. Next, legal and privacy concern. As we saw, threats, malicious activity. எவன் எங்கிருந்து என்ன பண்றான்ட்டு அவ்வளோ ஈஸியாக கண்டுபிடிக்க முடியாது. Unless the service provider helps you to trace, as an end user, you cannot trace. Service provider have to support you to trace. If not possible. Okay, typical use case. ISP serving residential and mobile user. Even for residential nowadays, ISP provides CG NAT address 164 range. Mobile user, you already gave me an example, vessels like ships. Enterprises network with limited public IP address space. You don't have enough public, so you need to give even to enterprises. Internet cave, that is also flowing customer, not fixed customer. Public Wi-Fi zone like airport, you can give CG NAT solution. All right. So configuration wise, it is simple. like a normal NAT configuration. You see here, we define inside and outside. This is the LAN facing interface, this is the WAN facing interface. But we don't do this on the customer side, we do. This is again one more time we do NATing on the provider side. This is the NAT pool address. And we say if any traffic coming from this subnet should be given an address from the pool. What is the pool name? This is the pool name. And it is overloading. Overloading means port number. Have you done NATing? Are you comfortable with NATing? Or do you want me to teach NATing? We'll do a lab tomorrow. We'll do one lab, normal basic lab. Basic, this is also basic NAT. See, CG NAT is doing NAT again in the service provider side. Configuration wise, it's the same basic NAT overloading, same story. Port number, include port number. That is all. I'll do and show you this lab, okay, tomorrow. So this is Juniper command for the same. And a port address allocation method. I told you can also do static port address allocation. That is for bidirectional. Deterministic NAT, you give a fixed range of port number, not one-to-one. This is one-to-one. This is also like static, but you don't specify dedicatedly one port number to one IP. You give a range. From that range, anything can be given. Like for the first PC, first port number, second PC, second port number. Dynamic port randomly, whichever is available, it will give. These are the different. I'll repeat this topic again tomorrow class because of the time I'm rushing a little bit, but I'm going to repeat those things again. Some verification commands. This is for Cisco. We know this. This is normal NAT verification command on Juniper and as well as Cisco. These are all the show commands. Now, what is the issue with CG NAT? We already saw we will not have enough port number, so you need to have more IP address instead of single IP address. And then some applications may suffer, so you need to have static NATing so that they won't suffer. Double NAT is the problem, you need to do NATing both on customer premises as well as on the ISP level. Logs, it is very difficult to trace the log. You need to use some special hardwares and modules to do this, right? Fine, then we'll stop here.